Do you remember the last time you talked to Aunt Bee?
I talked to her?
Yes.
Yes.
Was she very sick?
Yes. I hadn't talked to her in a long time. I went to see her one time in Siler City, and she flew all over.
To North Carolina.
Yeah, she moved. I went to see her and unannounced, and she flew all over me because I had come unannounced. And so Lee Greenway was the makeup man on that show, and Lee Greenway was able to get Frances on the stage because she wasn't always in real great shape emotionally. And so Lee called me and said, Frances wants to talk to you. So I called her up. Hi, Frances. Oh, Andy, she said, I must be made of cast iron. I've had a heart attack. Now I have cancer. I'm only now just starting to die. And she said, I said, well, Frances, she said, no, you can't do anything for me. She said, I'm sorry we didn't get along better. She said it was my fault, and she said I just wish we had. And you ran the show, and you made the show a success, and I'm just sorry we didn't get along better. We got along fine. It's just that she didn't feel like it a lot of times.
She was really typed as Aunt Bee.
Yeah. So she called. She wanted to talk to me to say goodbye. That's some experience.
So you knew this was the last time you'd be talking to her?
Yes. Yeah.
Did people on that show love each other?
Yes. Absolutely. Of course, Don and I had this very special friendship, and everybody knew it. Everybody knew it. Nobody talked about it, but everybody knew it. The last show Don was on, he left after 5 years. We used to have a little party every Wednesday after the last shot. So Don and I were sitting down talking, and the crew was all there. And Don and I were talking. And after a while, we looked up, and we were the only ones there. The stage was empty. They all knew we were closed, and they just got up and left. And it was interesting.
Why did he leave?
Don? He came over to see me one time at my house, and he said, Andy, if you would be a team with me, I'd stay. And I said, Don, I'm afraid of that. I said, a lot of these teams, people wind up not liking one another, and I don't want that to happen.
When you say team, you mean like two comics working together?
Like Dean Martin and Jerry Lewis.
Okay.
And I said, I'm just afraid of it. And he had a deal at Universal, so he went over there. And his first movie was called The Ghost and Mr. Chicken. And he got the first script, the first story. He said, would you read this? And I read it, and I said, this is not any good. He said, would you come over and help us with the story? I said, sure. It was springtime. I didn't have anything to do. So I went over to Universal every day and worked with Don and two of the best comedy writers that ever lived, Jim Fritzell and Everett Greenbaum. And I didn't take any screen credit, but I loved working on that story.
After he left, how many years did you continue on?
3.
So you did the show for 8 years?
I did it 8 years, and I was offered to do it 4 more years, but I felt I wasn't giving it its due. I would come to work without knowing my lines sometimes, and I just decided I might hurt the show if I stayed with it, so I left. Then it stayed on